Hey everybody, welcome to the Horror Slash Show. I'm Jason Pellegro, and I'm pumped to have you here today. Of course, we got Sassy Sledgehammer on the show. She's coming up a little bit later on with all poll results, new polls, and the latest news in the world of horror. But first off, we have from Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. She played Tina. We have Deborah Voorhees on the show, and she's here to promote a film that she co-wrote and directed called 13 Fanboy, which is for Friday the 13th fans, something really, really cool, really, really special. Let's talk to her right now. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I like your taste in t-shirts.
Oh, I know. I put it on for you.
Got to meet Scout.
Hey, Scout?
First Scout from the movie.
Oh, hey, Scout. How's it going?
He's the true star.
Yes, they always are.
All those other humans thinks they're the stars, but he's the star.
Exactly. And the dogs never die in the films, which is right.
Well, and I just want you to know it's not nepotism why you got the job.
No?
Audition.
Yeah.
Not just because he was my dog that I thought he was the best.
You saw a lot of dogs, did you?
Oh, tons of dogs. Tons of dogs.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this and being on the show. We're gonna talk a little bit about Friday the 13th, but more so, okay. I want to talk about your new project, 13 Fanboy. So I guess the best place to start is to ask you, how did this come about?
Well, I was talking with my producing partner. His name's Joel Paul Reisig. Mm-hmm. He just asked me, what is it like at horror conventions? What are horror fans like? You know, are they kind of scary? Mm-hmm. I say, no. I said, they're kind of a bunch of grown-up kids who like to dress up for Halloween. I said, they're a lot of fun and cool to hang out with, you know? And so, but there's nothing, you know, scary or anything like that. And he says, well, has anything weird ever happened? And I said, well, not really at a horror convention, but I had a couple of messages that did unnerve me a bit.
Okay.
One was on Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
And that one said, wouldn't it be cool if you died in real life like you did in Friday the 13th?
And that was in your film. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got that.
And then, so I was like, well, no, block.
Wow.
3 weeks later, as far as I know, it's not the same person, but I guess it's possible. Mm-hmm. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting alone in my office late at night, and I'm working on a script. So it's dark. I have one single light on. 2 French doors open up to the woods.
Okay.
Text comes over. I'm watching you.
Oh.
This is my personal phone, not Messenger.
Oh my God.
Phone. Then ding, ding, ding. Makes it clear that he's pretending to be Jason, and he's there to kill me.
Wow. Okay.
That freaked me out. And I blocked the person. And the first words out of Joel's mouth was, that's our movie. And I went, no, I think you're mistaken. That's not a movie, that's real life. And that's really scary.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I was looking for a horror film to do for the horror fans, but I wasn't looking for something quite that realistic. I was thinking more in terms like pretend monster, or, you know, kind of thing, right? No. It took me about 4 or 5 very uncomfortable days, literally pacing, much of going, can I do this? Is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? I was like, if it's scaring me this much,
yeah,
this is our movie.
Yeah.
So I called him back and I said, let's do it. Go. It's a go.
So I want to know a little bit more of not just, you know, how the premise and the plot developed, but just how you jumped into this project and how you, you know, how you got inspired to take on this this 13 fanboy?
Well, one of the big reasons, and this was before Joel and I had that conversation, the fans had been asking me and talking to me about, why don't you do something with the characters, or they said the characters from Friday the 13th. And most of their ideas revolved around the idea of basically a Friday the 13th. Mm-hmm. Like you've heard the one where all the final girls come together to take Jason on, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Friday the 13th film. So there's only two ways to do it, is either to make a fan film or to get a license. Well, the license for the rights to the film is up in the air, and we don't know when that lawsuit will be settled completely. Mm-hmm. So that was completely not an option. And so when I was talking to Joel and he said, this is our movie, I was like, this is what they've been asking me for. Then I realized I was going to need to go to the actors of the series and ask them not to just play a character being stalked, but I wanted them to play themselves being stalked. Trust me, is way scarier. That definitely is what had me pacing. Like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Really? Okay. So you co-wrote this and you directed it. Right. And did you have directing, like, were you trained in directing, or was it just something you picked up over being on sets all the time? How did that come about?
Well,
that was fascinating to me.
Right. I did, of course, learn about a lot of things when I worked on sets, but most of my training came, I did my first film was called Billy Shakespeare. And basically that was my film school.
Okay.
I basically directed, produced it, wrote it. And it was actually a very complicated script with lots of locations, lots of actors and stuff. So it was not the easy to start with, but I'm glad I did. Jumped in, with both and made a lot of mistakes, did a lot of things right. But I'm really glad I did it that way.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. It's, you sometimes baptized by fire.
Right.
With Friday the 13th, like you touched on the legal issues, with this project, were you clear of all red tape, or was there still hoops to jump through?
There really wasn't. We got an entertainment lawyer, of course, is Larry Zerner, who was still in Friday the 13th. Yeah. I have Friday the 13th people everywhere. And basically he said we were clear as long as we didn't use any images from Friday the 13th. So like at the convention scenes, I did try to get the rights to just use photographs from Friday the 13th up there. It was a no-go. Yeah. They wouldn't discuss it. They wouldn't even give a price.
No. Okay.
So it was just a hard no, forget it. And so that was clear. They basically said, we want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
It's probably because it is a scary concept. She's about to say that there is a stalker after our actors in this film. This does not sound like a good ending for us.
Yeah.
So, and then two, you also still had the question of who owned the rights.
Yeah.
Went to Paramount and New Line, and it was a brick wall.
Okay.
And so Larry said, stay away from showing any imagery in the film. You can't show a direct photograph of any of the Jasons. Could use the fan film Jason because the hockey masks couldn't be copyrighted.
Okay.
So he suggested not to use the mask in the film because he said, while it can't be copyrighted, even if you change it up and make it look different, he said, you will have a lawsuit on your hands, and you don't want to fight that. And so, or at least it would be a good chance of it, I should say.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, we could talk about Friday the 13th because we have actors who were in Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
We can use their names. We could use their name from the film, but we couldn't, I mean, not as the character. We couldn't make the character, like for me, I couldn't be Tina.
Yeah. Yeah.
Deborah Voorhees, who once played Tina in a Friday the 13th film.
Great. And of course, you could use Voorhees films because we are talking to a Voorhees.
That's right. The only Voorhees in the entire.
Okay, so was it true
series.
that you actually got the role because of your name?
No.
Okay.
Not. Think about that. Does that really make any sense?
No, that's why I asked. I
mean, they're not going to go, okay, I'm going to find a Voorhees and we're going to cast any Voorhees in the film. So no, I mean, they did think it was funny.
It was a happy coincidence, right?
Yeah.
But
sure. At that time, that name was not that well known then.
No, wasn't.
No, not really. Even though it was the 5th, people were still asking me, say your name again, spell it for me. The best Jason Voorhees ever did for me was to make it so I don't have to pronounce the name 4 or 5 times and then spell it.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times.
It's true. You know what? Because I was a kid growing up and loving all these movies. And, I remember I was a hardcore fan at a very young age. And like classmates, they knew Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, but Jason was just Jason for the longest time. Only in the later on did they really adopt the name Voorhees and really just name him Voorhees in all the films. So it was different back then. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. So I want to talk a little bit about the writing process because I want to know, obviously you approached people to just play themselves, which in itself is fun and scary, but I want to know, when you were writing it, I guess did you approach people and realize, okay, they're going to do it, she's going to do it, he's going to do it, they're in it. Is that how you went about the writing process?
That was a big part of it. I did start kind of putting together, first Joel and I, the first thing we did was come up with 30 pages of a very detailed outline. And as we were doing it, and as we were talking to different people, we started trying to fit people into the roles that seemed right for them. Well, actually, let me back up. I misspoke on that. What we tried to do is to create the role to fit the person. Since they were going to be playing themselves, it was very important that true aspects of their life are a part of this. So, for example, with Kane Hodder, he was one of the last ones to come on board. And so I actually had a completed script, and then I wrote something specifically for him and Jennifer Banco to put them together. Well, in Kane's real life, he has been turned down for roles because people couldn't see him as anything but Jason Voorhees, the silent killer.
Yeah.
So in the case of like Dee Wallace, she is a very loving woman. So making her a very loving, grandmother type figure worked perfectly for her.
Okay.
Judie did have a stalker. And so the scene that he's leaving photos at my house, that was relating to her experience. Each person you go down the line and there's something. Tracie Savage
advertising.
Right. She was a broadcast journalist and then a professor, a teacher of broadcast.
Oh, she was too as well. Wow.
Yes. So both of those, and in there it even says, that she covered the O.J. Simpson case. Really did in real life.
Amazing.
So there's all kinds of little real life things in there.
How'd you get her? Because she's kind of been, away from it a lot. Like she
has.
Yeah.
And in fact, she was the first one we got.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I wrote it specifically, that scene in the classroom and everything written specifically for her.
Okay.
And I just got on the phone and chatted with her, and she said, I'm not really an actress anymore. She said she wasn't feeling like, she's worried she wouldn't have the chops for it and stuff. But by the time we were finished talking, she decided to go ahead and go for it. She threw her hat in the ring, and I was like, fantastic.
Great. And you didn't go easy on her, because there was some tough acting in that role. So you you put her to the test. But
right.
That's great. I was really, I was great to see so many, but definitely I know she's really shied away from it.
Right.
Some really stay away from it. I don't think she's hidden from it, but she just had, I was surprised. I was surprised that you got her, and I was really, really happy.
Right.
Of course, I got to ask, were there people that you asked that didn't do it?
Yes. Adrian King.
Okay.
He had a very serious situation with a stalker. And she said reading the script was way too close for comfort for her.
Yeah.
And she really wanted to do the film, but it was just too scary. So she talked to her family, and they all decided it wasn't in her best health issue for her to, for her, it would be reliving something too real.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And that story has been, she's well talked about that many times, and I could see that. Actually, It was funny because that's who I thought of when I was watching this film. I was like, oh, that's kind of similar to her story. I mean, I know a lot of, like you were saying, others have had it too, which is unfortunate. But so with the casting, was there, I guess so many of you have done conventions and stuff like that. Was there some people that were brought in that were a little bit new to or just kind of coming back into the game other than Tracie, or was it just like a family reunion kind of thing?
A lot of it did feel like a family reunion, because even though we didn't necessarily know everybody from the conventions, because you're not always there at the same time. They don't usually have all of the people from all the series.
Yeah.
So, but there is a camaraderie, a feeling of like we're a family together. And it happens actually with those from Halloween as well, because they're both, very popular slasher type films. And Nightmare as well.
Of course, yeah, they all have their fans. So I'm not, I really don't want to spoil too much, but I have seen a lot of stuff on the internet that does spoil it. But this is, no, I'm not gonna spoil too much. But I mean, this is early in the film. You off yourself.
I do, and that one is because I actually use that in the description of the film. Okay. Yeah, kind of the sacrificial lamb. It's like, if I'm going to ask all these people to come in and be threatened, I kind of need to put myself in the same position.
Right.
Okay. I mean, initially, at the very beginning, before I started talking to anybody, I hadn't intended to be in there myself.
Oh, okay.
I was just wanted to direct. I wasn't interested in acting at all. I'm really glad, by the way, that I did decide to do it.
Good.
I'm really happy about that. But yeah, and especially it's like, I don't want to die again in a movie. I've died 3 times. What am I? I'm going to kill myself again? Really? And but then no, it ended up being so much fun.
Yeah.
Back playing in the blood, and it was a blast. I had a great evening.
And it was a good scene. It was a powerful scene. So you did.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a much more realistic scene.
Yeah.
The 13th one.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. I thought it was a great scene. Was there anything that you shot that didn't end up in the film?
Oh yeah. There's ways that it's a lot on the cutting room floor. And there's, some scenes that I miss and things, but they were slowing the pace down. And so it really, and then plus we would have been getting close to, I mean, we're at 1 hour and 43 minutes. And if I had added everything in, we would have been at about 1 hour and 53 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just too long for most horror films.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Pacing is huge.
Right.
Was there anything from a filmmaker's perspective, was there anything that was really hard to let go of that you just had to?
Yeah, there was, I think my favorite scene, there was a scene where Kelsey D and Ron Sloan were at the dinner table. That I really liked that one a lot, but it wasn't, it was slowing things down and it wasn't working. So I had.
Yeah. Were you in like Sloan close since Friday 13th Part 5?
Not since then. Actually, it was after going to the conventions.
Oh, okay.
And he and I became very close after that. And his wife, the four of us, my husband and his wife and we like to go out to dinner and hang out with each other. So that's really a nice relationship.
Okay, so I got to ask you a little bit about the ending. It's kind of, I get it, like it's really left up to interpretation, and it's vague. Is that the way you designed it, or did I miss something? I'm just a dumb viewer.
We talked about several different possibilities for endings, and it's hard to talk about the ending because we can't really
spoil it
much, but we ultimately decided to go for something dark.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously that leads me to the next question. Is part 2 on your agenda?
If the fans really respond to it and get out there and see it, absolutely.
Yeah, you'd love to do another one? That's great. And so what has been the early reception? What's it been like? Is it too early to gauge, or have you been kind of?
I think overall we've been doing really well. Of course, there's always going to be people who don't like it, but I would say by far the majority have really loved it. It'll be interesting. I would love to be able to divide it and say hardcore Friday the 13th fans, general horror fans, and non-horror fans, and see where the lines go. I was surprised that several people who said, we're not horror fans, but we really did love this. Or it was somebody that they said, that particular person is a hardcore horror fan, but the family wasn't so much, but the family loved it too.
Okay.
It does have a strong thriller to it too.
Yeah. And so, you enjoy doing, obviously Friday the 13th has paved the way in many ways for your career, but do you actually enjoy it? Like, it's not,
yeah.
Were you a fan of horror films before you made Friday?
Well, initially some of it was a little bit too scary for me. Okay. I'm pretty all the way across, but I loved ghost stories. I loved the Universal monsters. Yeah, because you have to think back to when I was a kid during the 60s and 70s, right? So a lot of those Universal monsters were around when I was a kid. Dark Shadows was around. Favorite movies was The Bad Seed. A blonde pigtailed little girl who's a serial killer is just too damn fun. I liked movies like The Omen, that sort of thing. At 12, I saw The Exorcist all by myself in a dark theater.
Wow.
After that, I had so many nightmares. And then I was like, okay, I'm only watching scary movies if somebody has to sit right here. They have to hold my hand. And then they have to watch something funny with me afterward.
Yeah.
Now that wasn't for all, horror movies. It was for like the really, really scary ones.
For sure.
And but ghost stories. I love ghost stories.
Yeah.
To me, those are really scary. I love the movie Hush.
Oh, yeah.
That's very realistic. That really is scary.
Yeah.
And
is that something that you could see yourself doing in the future?
Something like a Hush?
Yeah. Or
oh, absolutely. A ghost story. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely have that on my roster.
Great.
I'm discussing right now, it's going to be a little bit, but the possibility of doing a true ghost story.
Nice. I like it. You're really inspired these days, which is great. It's great to see.
Mm-hmm.
So it all started, with Friday the 13th part 5. I mean, there was stuff before that, obviously, but
Right.
Friday the 13th part 5 has been, I would assume, am I assuming, a blessing on your professional career?
Absolutely. I had some negative blowback from it because of the nudity. I was thrown out after I left Hollywood and stopped being an actress. I was a journalist for many years. That worked out great. It wasn't a problem there.
Yeah.
But then I tried to go into teaching for a while, and I taught British literature, American literature, journalism. And I didn't really think about Friday the 13th then. I started going to conventions. This was something I did many, many years ago. And why would anybody care? And apparently, not a lot of parents, but a few parents in the school board cared a lot.
Yeah.
So I was thrown out of 2 high schools over it.
Really?
But it was a blessing. Like so many things in life, things that hurt you initially, and because I love teaching. And so it was hurtful to get thrown out. And but then after the second time, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go through this again.
Yeah.
And one school was in Texas and one was in New Mexico. And I was thinking, New Mexico, well, nobody knows me. They're not going to know. I couldn't believe it. The kids recognized me.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Well, your last name, I mean, alone is kind of, a blessing and a curse.
Right. And so, but it ended up working out brilliantly because I'm doing what I belong doing.
That's good. Great. That's good to hear. The actual shoot of Friday the 13th part 5, how was that for you? Was it a good experience?
It was a lot of fun. Oh yeah. Yeah, very much so. It was really good. Despite any rumors that may be out there, Danny was very good to me. Danny Stein, the director. And my co-star, my boyfriend in the film, he was also really nice and very respectful. And on the set, everybody was really nice. It was a closed set, so it was very respectful and very nice, despite the rumors.
Yeah, and there were. So I'm glad you're saying.
Oh yeah, I mean, but I think there's something about the desire to exaggerate or fib about something like that. And it bothers me sometimes because that didn't happen. Yeah. It is what it is. And you just have to shrug and go, yeah, right. Yeah.
Are you referring to, I mean, there's a few times it's been brought up, but I know Crystal Lake Memories is,
right.
And I've interviewed a couple of people that have really taken issue with that documentary,
right.
For all its, greatness. Some people have said that the stories got twisted and embellished and stuff. And so you're kind of saying the same thing then.
Yeah. It was extremely so. And I know some people from the set made comments. I know the editor did and things. And I'm sorry I was there. Yeah. Yeah. Danny was not disrespectful. He didn't say the things that he said. They said he did. Yeah. Is it possible that, under his breath, he said it over here to like one person? I suppose so. But supposedly he was yelling it and screaming it. But it just... it's one of those weird things. I don't know. I guess it's much more titillating to say something, inappropriate happened as say, it was another day on a film set and we all did our jobs and did what we were supposed to. And then we called it a day. Not as exciting, is it? No, it's not. It's not. I guess with Friday 13, Friday 13 part 5 did have quite a bit of nudity, and I guess Danny's reputation heading into it
kind of unfairly, as you would say, just, I mean, kind of just the way it was for you when you were teaching, right? It precedes you sometimes. And I guess that story was just a little bit more enticing to tell. But it's kind of, that's why it's great to talk to people, that where it's not packaged up, it's just a raw interview, so you kind of get everybody's perspective, because you said you were there, you weren't just there, you were it, right? You were it's not like you were hanging around, like, just, putting up C-stands and stuff like that. You were there, so it means a lot coming from you.
Right. Well, and yeah, exactly. And it's I don't know, it's a curious thing how people are about this sort of thing. And I don't know why it got blown out of proportion, really. Oh, well, one of the things, I mean, you did bring up Danny Steinman did shoot porn. But the thing is why is that ever been even a thing? Why did we worry about it or think about it? In that time period, darn near every director out there shot porn.
Yeah, I mean,
that was just the norm. Exactly. But does everybody sit there go, well, Wes Craven, it's kind of sleazy because he shot porn, or, but no, they did money. It's like, it's because, hit the low fruit, pick on it on,
For sure. It was, low hanging fruit. I guess just some of the content of Friday the 13th Part 5 was just a little bit more extreme than the other ones, but it was what it was. I mean, I love the film. I think it's a great film, obviously.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's and
it's a great horror film. Look at the kills.
I know, and that's what I love.
In the franchise, right?
Exactly. And there was some great kills. And I'm happy about Friday the 13th Part 5, because for years it was kind of like the black sheep for a long time,
right?
And now it's not. A lot of people really, and of course you even have Quentin Tarantino saying that it was his favorite film in the franchise, so that's pretty cool.
Edgar Wright loves it.
Edgar Wright. So there you go.
Jean LaJoie did the music video that recreated my scene, and about his reaction and feelings about it as a young boy. Ended up getting to meet Edgar Wright, at least over the phone. I'm hoping I'm going to meet him in person in London when I go. But he had the same experience that Jean LaJoie did.
Yeah. Okay. So look, about your scene,
there's some 3 big heavy hitters for me.
It is pretty big. That's pretty big. Yeah. So you're happy with that scene, right? Like, I mean, you look back on it and you're happy you did it. And yeah, absolutely. Right? Sure. You're young.
I had some kids ask me from high school, because they were pretty upset about the situation. I said, and granted, I was too. And I said, what do you want your story to be? That's really what measures a life, is what your story is to the world, right? Do you want it to be, I taught for 30 years and then I retired? Or do you want it, I was thrown out of 2 high schools because I was naked in Friday the 13th and making movies?
That I'd go with the latter for sure. Good job.
Exactly.
And I love that perspective. That's great. And I mean, where you put it, who can argue? Speaking of your death scene, was it pretty much what we saw was what was shot, or was there more to it? I heard that it was a little bit more graphic. Is that no? It was just a cutaway. Yeah. I mean, it was pretty graphic
as it was. What the rumor said was that they actually showed the garden shears going through my eyes. Well, in order to have that, they would have had to make a full head for me. They never did.
No.
The only thing they made was the mask that went here, where they put the blood and the thing that looked like the broken bone right here. That's it. That's all they ever made. So another
rumor squashed.
Rumor squashed. It's not as much fun, I know.
No. It's good to know, right? Because if people know that there's more out there, they want to see it, right? Like, I mean, if you were to say, oh yeah, there was so much more, I'd be dying to see this footage. So
right,
I could sleep easy now. You put me.
I think it would be very cool if they had done that, but it wasn't done.
Yeah. Well, I got to say, your scream, have you gotten a lot of praise over the years for your scream? Because that was a pretty high. It hit tones. I think it changed octaves, and it was killer. No pun intended.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. Okay, so you died a fair bit in films. Is it something that's fun for you, or is it you'd rather not?
Well, you know, honestly, I initially I felt after 3 kills that was enough.
Yeah.
But the director in me saw the value in killing me again.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Director argued with the actress. The director won, as it always is. And so there I went.
That's awesome. No, that's great. Well, listen, if you know, it was not only just better for the film, but I'm sure it was a little bit of fun for you to get all dirtied up again. And so I'm looking forward to. I personally feel that this will be very well received. I look to see a sequel, but I also look forward to seeing more. So directing is your game now? Is that where?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Absolutely by far, and I've had some amazing jobs. I absolutely loved being a journalist. I loved teaching. I loved acting. There's nothing I love more than directing.
That's amazing. Well, I
like being in charge.
Yeah, right. And I mean, you got your name in the production company, and so it sounds like you're well equipped to just take this genre by storm.
Right.
Good.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So I'd like to thank you for being on this show. I really enjoyed the conversation and the insight, and I liked squashing rumors and putting things to bed and getting down to it, and you did it all. Thank you so much, Deborah.
Thank you, Jason. I really appreciate you so much. And appreciate you having me. And you asked some new questions too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I try not to be redundant, but people love to hear the same things too. So you got to kind of find. You had
a nice balance.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. I could keep my day job. For now. But anyways, thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to you much, much more with many more projects.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Where is she? There she is.
I had to make it interesting.
Yes. I'm never lonely because I always have this one here with me. So if we didn't show up,
she has the epitome of this face.
Yeah, because I tried. I so tried. Look at that.
I think you nailed it.
I tried. I had to really MacGyver those eyes though. So and thumbtack her hair to the. Anyways. We won't get into my Frankenstein sassy sledgehammer creation, but how you doing?
I'm doing good. How was your Halloween?
It was great. It was nice. It was fun. It was, it was all those things and more. So how was your Halloween?
It was good. We spent the whole day driving back from Tennessee. So it was like an 8-hour, 10-hour day.
Oh my God.
It was a long day, but it was very pretty. We came home and we watched Halloween as I needed to.
Okay.
Ate pizza, and then we watched Hoovie Halloween, which I've only ever seen twice at this point. And I was like, did I really not really like it that much? And yeah, we watched it again. And I'm like, fell asleep. So it's not my fave.
No, my take on that one is it's just not a good movie, but it's so Halloween-y. Like, you know what I mean? The feel is there, right? Mm-hmm. So that alone merits a watch, I guess, maybe every few years. But cool. Well, I'm glad that you had a good Halloween, and now the road to Christmas.
Oh, the road to Christmas. Here we go. All right, horror news, road to Christmas.
Here we go.
One of the big releases for this week is, of course, the return of Showtime's Dexter. The brand new batch of Dexter New Blood episodes premiere on Sunday, November 7th. So I've watched all of Dexter. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
I didn't even know anything about this, like, coming up. Like, so that it was just like, whoa, Dexter. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Massive.
What a cliffhanger on that
Mhm.
final episode. Henry Winkler, who of course played the principal in Wes Craven's Scream, he all these years later is parting with his own personal ghost face mask as part of an auction that will take place on December 8th at Bonham's in Los Angeles, which will also include his Fonzie iconic leather jacket from Happy Days.
Is he like
So
hard up for cash or what's going on?
I don't know. I mean, that's pretty priceless, but it says he has auctioning off one of two. So
Okay.
he has another one. He has a backup.
Okay. All right.
UK company Serial Killer, it took to social media on Halloween to tease their upcoming Strawberries and Scream cereal made up of crispy mallow cereal clusters. The company teases the Scream cereal, which of course is just in time for the next movie, will launch in January of 2022 to celebrate that new movie. And it's not just an amazing cereal, but it's also going to be a collector's box with voice. First
Really?
talking cereal box. The 1978 LTD station wagon that Michael Myers rode around in Halloween has been restored, and it was at Flashback Weekend this past summer, and Sean Clark of Horror's Hollow Grounds met with the owner to get the full story about how he found it and restored it. And that's now available on YouTube for anybody to watch that might be interested.
That's cool. And Sean Clark is going to be on the show next week. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So anybody can watch that, and I don't know, maybe you could be like, hey, at Horror Slash, I have a question for Sean Clark
There
based
you go.
on this little documentary that I saw you made. So that would be very cool.
Clever little promoter you are.
There is a new clip from Ghostbusters Afterlife in spirit of the original film. Paul Rudd charges up Egon Spengler's old ghost trap, accidentally opening it and letting loose a demon dog. I haven't watched it yet. I'm hesitant to watch it. I know the premise of it because of this, but I did not watch it yet because I'm not sure if I want to save it for the movie experience or
I think
ahead.
you'd be good. I think you'd be okay to see it. I saw
it.
It pumps you up a little bit more.
Italian filmmaking legend Dario Argento is returning to his roots with Rome-set giallo thriller Dark Glasses, which is expected to be ready for delivery in 2022. No specific date yet, but that's exciting to get another film from Dario Argento.
I don't want to sound cynical. I don't want to sound cynical. How old is he?
Dude, I have no idea.
He's got to be late 70s, or am I and if I'm wrong, I apologize, Dario, because I know you're a big fan of the show. But but wow, that's okay. He's inspired.
Bloody Disgusting obtained a press release that said that Doug Jones is going to be back as Billy Butcherson in Hocus Pocus 2. And speaking of that, Disney released a kind of a teaser. It was just a short video of the Black Flame Candle with a piano version of Come Little Children with some cat noises and wind sounds and stuff like that, and the Hocus Pocus 2 graphic. So Billy Butcherson is back. I still don't know where they're going to go with this, but I'm still very curious.
Yeah. We'll see. I have a feeling this is going to make our show a lot, make the news a lot with you on bringing it to our attention, which is
let's see.
Good. It's always good.
Oh yeah. I'm speaking out to the millennial crowd here with all that Hocus Pocus stuff. Gotta draw them in. Ozzy Osbourne and Lemmy Kilminster star in a brand new animated music video, an official music video that is essentially a short horror film celebrating 30 years of the song Hellraiser, featuring Ozzy and late Lemmy's vocals spliced together. Available on YouTube.
Wow. That tugs at my heartstrings, so I gotta check that out.
Heck yeah. Jeremy Irons and Tobin Bell are the lead cast in a Darren Lynn Bousman horror coming up called Cello, and those are two pretty great actors.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Yet another Stephen King. What? It could.
It could
I
suck.
hope it doesn't.
But I know, but I'm just saying, Jeremy Irons.
Everything could suck.
That's true.
You'll see. He was a great scar. Yet another Stephen King horror tale is getting the TV film treatment. This time it's his short story, The Boogie Man, which will be adapted to the small screen by 20th Century Studios, according to a report on Deadline. The 2-hour movie will air on Hulu on an unspecified date.
Let me ask you something, okay?
Hmm.
Because right now, I mean, streaming and shows are just as big as like movies, and that was never the case in the past, right? Let's just say you were a horror writer, right?
Hmm.
And your story got picked up. Would you rather it be a series or a movie?
I think depending on the story, I'd want it to be potentially a series. I mean, the only thing that I've ever really thought about turning into like anything was my Nightmare on Elm Street prequel idea, which was a series instead of a movie. I
Yeah.
think the series gives it a lot of opportunity to like flesh out something more in depth
Yeah.
and kind of keep it going for a while. Even, combine it like Fear Street, which was a couple of movies, but also a series in its own way. So I think a series is pretty great. I think everybody aims for movies, but I think there's a lot of potential with streaming for series.
I don't know now. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should poll people.
That's a good idea. We should do polls.
Yeah. There is a clothing company called Black Milk Clothing, which is known for their stylish standout gear. They're serving up Christmas looks titled Merry Creepmas, which of course they've got some of the classic snowflakes and floral designs, but they also have Dark Titan, skeletal wrapping paper, cannibalistic gingerbread men, and Krampus. So on a creepy clothing, they're coming out with some stuff coming up: play suits, dresses, leggings, jackets, etc.
Cool.
So cool stuff. Dark Star Pictures will release its Ankle Biters. This one I'm really looking forward to. A horror comedy in the tradition of Mom and Dad, which starred Nicolas Cage, and The Hunt. Both of those films I absolutely love. On demand and DVD November 16th. The synopsis is Sean, a pro hockey enforcer, has fallen in love with Laura, a widowed mother of 4 young daughters. When Laura's children mistake an act of lovemaking as an attack, they plot to protect their mother at all costs, and with horrific results. So essentially, it's little girl serial killers.
That's pretty cool.
That's what I got from the pictures. Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
if it's like that dark comedy action like Mom and Dad and The Hunt, which that like tone is spot on for what I always love to watch. I'm so down for that.
And you said hockey, so I'm in.
All right, poll results and questions from last week. First of the 3 questions was your favorite Halloween tradition. C_Furman on Twitter said that he's lived alone for 20 years and didn't get invited to Halloween festivities. So on the last Saturday before Halloween, he clears out the day and has a from the wake up to go to bed horror movie marathon, and it ends with Halloween and Halloween 2.
I was started off really sad. I was like, oh, are we gonna?
Yeah. Oh no.
I know.
At Mr. Ooh La La, Mr. Ooh La La says he loves to dress up in his Michael Myers costume and stalk the neighborhood.
Wow.
Always a good time. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Be careful if you really do that, because some parents don't realize that you're just a big horror fan.
Yeah.
On Instagram, revisionists_podcast loves to eat chili and cornbread on Halloween, which a couple people mentioned that they like cornbread on Halloween. Sounds delicious.
That's different.
The period rain reviews carves pumpkins and watches the original Halloween on Halloween. And a lot of people also said that they carve jack-o'-lanterns on Halloween. So that's pretty common tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Our second question was, who is the horror queen? And in both instances, Elvira won out. On Twitter, she won out at 71.6%. And in both cases, Morticia came in second, but she was pretty far behind Elvira. So
wow.
That's the queen.
And the other 2 were Lily Munster and Vampira, who was the original. So no love for the OG.
Only a little bit. Very slim. Very slim. And last but not least, your favorite Halloween costume. On Twitter, Mr. Ooh La La came back and said, hard to pick. Some include Ed Wood, Tony Clifton, and Freddie, of course. The shape is the old standby.
Mr. Ooh La La, thanks for participating so well. Ed Wood is one of my favorite films of all time. I love that to death. So that I'd like to see that costume, actually.
Yeah. On Instagram, I'm Your Rushmore said Grace from Ready or Not, or Penny Lane from Almost Famous, which those are two great characters and costumes. Brandon Reardon, of course, said Michael Myers, a classic. Zimza, this is hard. It's like Ximuzh, Carrie White. And Mayor X Perea said Wednesday Addams.
Okay, cute.
Yeah, so those were some of the standout costumes. There were some people that said Freddy in there, but I tried to pick some of the ones that weren't so unique, maybe captured some of the general consensus. But
you still have to mention Freddy.
Gotta mention Freddy. People love doing Freddy. So those are our poll results. I have a couple of poll questions for this week.
All right, let's hear them.
Well, the first one is more of just an ask, and it's share your Halloween costumes from this year. Put this out there, respond with a picture of your Halloween costume this year. Now that Halloween is over, just share it with us when we post the polls.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to see these. So like, that's one thing you realize with like social media is how many talented and creative people there are out there. Yeah. So like, it's like seeing these costumes is like blows you away sometimes, but
yeah, it does. Big time. So this year I passed out candy again, which I do every year, but I've only been doing it for 2 years since I've this house. And I tried to like pick the best candy. It was corn. All spooky themed, except candy corn. Blech. Candy corn, absolutely not. So I had a lot of Reese's this year, and this kid came up and I have also non-candy items, and he was like, "What's this?" I said, "That is a bubble. What's this?" It's a sticky hand. And he looked at all the candy I had. I had the caramel apple suckers and Kit Kats and pumpkin things, everything that I could think of.
Wow.
And this kid looked through the entire thing and was like, "Nah, I don't want that. I don't want that." And I was like, "I thought I did a good job. I know. It's free candy, sir."
First of all, did you give every kid the choice?
Yeah, they could have had the choice out of any of the candies in there, but he didn't want any of the candies in there. It's fine. It's whatever. But it hurt my feels. Yeah. And I thought maybe I need to do more research. So what is your favorite candy, or was your favorite candy to get on trick or treat? Maybe what's, most popular? What do the kids like? What's the most popular what are the most popular candies to hand out during trick or treat?
I feel you're very into candy.
I love candy, man.
I could tell. I love candy, man.
You just said I had Skittles candy, for lunch today.
Wow, yeah. That's nutritious.
They were on sale. They were spooky Skittles. So I had to have them. They were my lunch. Speaking of Christmas, now it's November. When is the most appropriate time to start listening to Christmas music? Is it November 1st, after Thanksgiving? So it could be like late on Thanksgiving in the US.
Yes.
Because I think Canada's, you guys have it when?
Second Monday in October.
So it's October, it's before Halloween. Yeah. But in the US.
Yes, of course.
After Thanksgiving or on December 1st.
Interesting.
I used to have different thoughts, but now my thoughts are also different than that.
Right.
So.
All right. Do we get to hear what your thought is on this one?
I used to have a different answer, but now I can't wait. So I've already started. I started November 1st.
Wow, that's early. I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas nut, and but that's still a little early because I feel that I just burn out on it a little bit. Like I love it elongated, but there's a fine line before it becomes a little too saturated, and I don't know.
It's true. Like I start like a little bit, and then I just kind of like, and then it'll come in. But I just think it's okay to start. For me, it's okay for me to start. Before then, no, I won't. Third question. I know a lot of people said they carve pumpkins, but I'm wondering if people mostly paint pumpkins, carve pumpkins, or both.
All right, so you're clinging to Halloween and you're throwing to Christmas. So we're definitely.
We can add that one more poll about, if you were to pitch a horror concept, would you much rather it be a movie or a mini series, or like
a series? A series works. Yeah, no, I definitely like that. Yeah, if you were to, what would you rather? Or yeah, I mean, not even if they're pitching, but what do they prefer their horror to be these days? Film or or a series.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they were bringing back Nightmare on Elm Street, for example, would you rather them say, hey, there's going to be a series, or we're going to bring back a film? Okay, I have a quick question. Or are you done? Yeah, okay. I have a quick poll. I had Deborah Voorhees on the show, and she was talking about, she was the director, co-writer, and director of 13 Fanboy, which brought together a lot of the Friday the 13th alumni. She said it wasn't a fan film. She was clear on that. But I want to know, do people out there like fan films? Like, are you guys get around this idea of, like, you know, just a whole bunch of Friday the 13th themed movies, Nightmare on Elm Street cast films? And do you guys like that? What do you look at your face? Okay, you're telling me something.
I would love to hear what people say. Like, I would
Mhm.
love to ask the general population, because I love fan films.
You do?
I'm a big hoe for fan films, especially Nightmare on Elm Street fan films. I'm all over that.
I'm turning into a fan. I figure, why not, right? Like, you know, there's such an appetite for it, and the nostalgia is so crazy that I'm a big fan of it. But I at first I was unsure, but I'm being won over by it. So I'm kind of curious to know what people think. Okay, so we got our polls. Are you happy with those? We got a lot. You're gonna be busy. You're gonna be a busy poll girl.
I'm looking forward to seeing what people have to say.
Yes. So am I. So until next week, have a great week. Stay safe, and watch a lot of scary stuff. And we look forward to talking to you again.
Likewise, I'm going to go back under my desk.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. It's been great.
An employer's dream. All right. Sorry. Not me. No, I didn't mean it. I don't employ you. I don't employ her. That was terrible. We lost our poll girl. She's quit. All right. Well, that's the end of this show. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.